You expected fire, a scream, something violent. But all you got was silence. You lit the candles. You spoke the name. He listened. You didn't summon something to fear. You summoned something to obey. And you will obey. This is Pantheon mythology, and this is Paimon, the demon that commands your soul. Paimon is a king of hell, ancient and exalted. His name appears in grimoires whispered through centuries, always alongside the same signs: ceremony, sound, submission. He arrives with a crown, seated on a camel, surrounded by music that marks his command. Those who call him do so with structure. Every word, every symbol, every offering must be exact. This spirit thrives on hierarchy, on order. Chaos finds no purchase here. And once his presence fills the room, it extends inward, into the mind. Paimon grants knowledge, speaks secrets, and offers control. But his power begins the moment you listen. There's something deeply unsettling about not feeling like yourself. Thoughts that circle endlessly, a quiet pressure behind the eyes, a creeping sense that you're no longer steering, just observing. I felt that, and I know how heavy it can get. That's why I've joined forces with BetterHelp for this paid promotion. BetterHelp is an online therapy platform where you can connect with a credentialed therapist, someone who will listen, ask the right questions, and help you see things more clearly. You start by filling out a short questionnaire to get matched, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time at no extra cost. BetterHelp has over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, and they're making that first step into therapy a little easier. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/Pantheon mythology to get 10% off your first month. Whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone. The origins of Paimon can be traced back to the Lemegeton, a 17th century grimoire of ceremonial magic, better known as the Lesser Key of Solomon. Within its first book, the Ars Goetia, Paimon is listed as the ninth spirit, a great king who commands hundreds of legions and speaks of things few dare to ask. He belongs to a structured world of ritual, symbols, and rank. His name is surrounded by incantations, seals, and instructions meant for those who seek to summon and control spirits. Among the 72 spirits catalogued in the Goetia, only a few hold the title of king. Paimon is one of them, and his presence carries weight. He governs the western region and is said to answer best when summoned from that direction. When alone, he commands 200 legions. When accompanied, his army swells, led by 2 infernal kings who march before him. His authority flows from above, obedient to Lucifer and in turn expecting obedience from those beneath him. Earlier references appear in the Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonum, compiled by Johann Weyer a century earlier, where Paimon is also recorded as a king. Over time, his name has persisted in the margins of grimoires, rituals, and invocations. His legacy endures through those who seek knowledge and offer submission in return. To summon Paimon, you begin with alignment. You face northwest, a direction tied to his presence across centuries of ritual. Every part of the ceremony follows to a fixed pattern, measured, deliberate, exact. Precision shapes the outcome. If you draw his seal with intention, every line serves as a threshold, each curve an act of preparation. This is a statement, a boundary that marks who you are and who you are calling. The seal becomes a doorway, and once completed, the room starts to listen. You speak his name in a voice shaped by tradition. The conjuration flows from grimoires copied across generations, each word chosen and tested. Speaking them places you within a larger design. It is performance inside a system older than memory. Sound arrives first. Before anything else you hear music, trumpets, cymbals, and tones that stretch across the edges of the room. The pressure shifts, the air fills. This is the language of procession. Each sound declares status. What enters carries more than presence. It brings authority, fully formed and unmistakable. When Paimon brings his full court, two spirits precede him, Label and Abali. Their names hold weight, and their appearance signals the ritual's success. They walk before him as part of his hierarchy, reinforcing your role within it. Each step, each breath, each phrase reaffirms your place. You build the structure. You hold the form. And the more precise your offering, the more completely it is answered. And when the atmosphere thickens, when the sound settles behind your thoughts, you recognize the shift. The structure is no longer yours. Every detail in his description carries weight, each image a layer of meaning that reveals how he operates, what he influences, and what he erodes. His face appears effeminate, neither fully masculine nor fully feminine, but something in between. That ambiguity destabilizes perception. He enters as a disruption to categories the mind depends on. In ritual magic, clarity defines power, names, roles, and titles. Paimon diffuses that clarity from the start. His appearance retracts identity, introducing uncertainty through duality. The longer you observe him, the more your own certainty begins to dissolve. You aren't deceived. You're set adrift. He rides a dromedary, one hump, bred for endurance. The camel carries burdens across long distances, through heat and silence, always forward, never hurried. Its symbolism speaks to the slow weight of knowledge. Paimon grants understanding over time, and with cost. He imposes a journey shaped by pressure. You carry what you've asked for long after you understand what it means. The crown speaks clearly. It declares his role before he speaks. In the world of ritual, power often hides in seals, names, chains of command. Paimon displays his openly. The crown delivers no threat. It establishes structure. He is obeyed because hierarchy places him above. The sound completes the image. Trumpets, cymbals, layers of tone that arrive before him. An acoustic threshold that overwhelms the senses before thought can respond. That pressure mirrors what follows. His presence settles in the mind the same way his sound fills the room, fully, immediately, without pause. The music enacts the ritual. It shapes the moment into something irreversible. Each of these elements, face, mount, crown, and sound, interact with the summoner long before words are exchanged. They form an experience that bypasses logic and speaks directly to instinct. By the time he speaks, the work has already begun. So why, then, would you summon Paimon? Because he grants power, real power, not just knowledge for its own sake, but knowledge that gives you leverage. He teaches truths hidden beneath the surface of the world, what the earth is, what holds it up in the waters, what the mind truly is, and where it resides. These aren't riddles or illusions. They're answers that strip away confusion and leave you standing with certainty, while others still guess in the dark. Paimon grants influence. He bestows dignities, an invisible weight that makes people listen, respect, follow. He assigns familiars, spirits that act in the background, adjusting outcomes, removing resistance, guiding events to fall in your favour. Where others struggle, you move freely. Where others plead, you speak and are heard. You summon him because he offers something few can: the tools to shape your world. Sharper judgment, greater presence, deeper control, not just over others, but over yourself. You don't realize the shift when it begins. You still think your thoughts are yours, your desires feel familiar, your decisions seem rational. Paimon rewrites the margins, slowly, precisely, until the center bends to match. It begins with confidence. Your voice gains weight. People listen. Opportunities open. You move through the world with clarity others struggle to find. But soon, your judgment sharpens into detachment. The things you once feared no longer matter. The things you once loved feel optional. Your values shift. They shift in ways that feel logical, necessary. The hunger for knowledge grows, searching for secrets rather than mere answers. You start to pursue truths no one asked you to find, truths that isolate, that unravel the soft threads keeping you human. The more you know, the less you sleep, the less you speak, the more you watch, even as those closest to you pull away. If you notice, you don't care, or worse, you do, but only as a passing thought. Emotion thins into calculation. The soul remains intact but obedient. That's the cost, something far more insidious than possession or torment. You stay yourself just enough to function, but the engine behind your actions no longer runs on your will alone. He doesn't take your soul, he commands it. And in time, you agree. Beyond rituals, seals, and crowns, Paimon reflects something far more intimate, something rooted not in the supernatural, but in the mind. He mirrors a phenomenon that many recognize, yet rarely name: the quiet takeover of identity, the moment when you act, speak, or choose, and it feels slightly off, not wrong, just distant. Think of the thoughts that circle without invitation, ideas that arrive unannounced, stay too long, grow louder. They're not foreign in sound, but they carry a weight that feels external. Paimon represents this intrusion made manifest. His intrusion manifests as a suggestion, never a scream, a compulsion, not a direct command. He doesn't fight for space. He fills what's already hollow. Obsession works the same way. It begins as focus, something useful, something productive, but it sharpens. It narrows the field until nothing exists outside its pull. That fixation rewires behavior. It organizes life around itself. In the mythology, Paimon offers knowledge, but symbolically, he offers fixation disguised as insight, a desire to know so intense it burns away everything else. Then comes the fracture, the sense of watching yourself speak, move, decide, as if action passes through you without pause. The voice is yours, the will feels yours, but there's a disconnect, a subtle layering. Something else rides just beneath awareness. Paimon sits in that space, as a presence the mind has already made room for. He reflects the fear that control can slip without struggle, that identity bends from subtle shifts in priority, perception, and need, that one day you realize the person making the decision looks like you, sounds like you, moves like you, but answers to something else. Paimon entered mainstream culture through a film that still haunts my dreams, Hereditary. For many, this marked his introduction, delivered not through a grand evocation, but through something far more unsettling: grief. His rise unfolds slowly, wrapped in sorrow, silence, and the unbearable weight of legacy. Every death becomes a step in the ceremony. Every strained conversation, every sleepless stare pulls the structure tighter. This is a story shaped by inheritance. Pain passes like a crown, quiet and binding. The family stands inside a ritual they never crafted yet follow with perfect accuracy. Paimon emerges through precision. Each act of violence holds meaning. Each movement aligns with something older. The crown lands exactly where it was always meant to. The film's final moments reveal what the ritual has shaped. The house becomes a temple. The bodies become the offering. Paimon receives what has been prepared for him, entering a space made in his image, surrounded by music, loyalty, and submission. The horror arrives through recognition. This was never disorder. This was always preparation. And Hereditary was only the beginning. He appears in modern demonolatry texts, described as a spirit of knowledge and control, calculated, a king who still accepts offerings. The old grimoires are now PDFs, the chants, voiceovers. The crown never lost its place. It just found new ways to be seen. Paimon lingers just beyond thought, just beneath reason. He watches you as you carry weight, stumble, hesitate. He watches as your will softens, your voice quiets, your mind opens. He doesn't take the crown from your head. He waits until you lower it yourself. And when you do, he wears it well.